Good evening. I'd like to call the meeting to order. Will everybody please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We will be taking the oaths of office in just a minute.
Yeah.
Okay, Beth Marshall. Hi. You want to come up and stand in the microphone?
Good evening, everybody. Thank you for having me. I'm Brian McGuffin from the Court of Common Pleas in Doylestown, and I'm happy to be swearing in Beth Marshall. Are you ready, Beth?
I am.
All right. I hand the Constitution, and what I'll do is I'll try to hold it, and if you'll put your left hand on it, can we do that? And would you like to introduce anybody else that's here with you tonight, by the way?
Sure. This is my son Ellis,
Alice, it's nice to see you.
and my husband David, and my daughter Avery. And yeah.
All right, great.
Alright, but
Alice, do you want to hold something for me, Alice?
can you hold
Would you
them
come
up?
over here for a second? All right,
Okay.
I don't think that's gonna happen.
Okay.
All right,
Good
so
shot.
raise your right hand. Okay, perfect. Hold that. Thank you. All right, very good, you're doing great. I, Beth Marshall,
I, Beth Marshall,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
or affirm
or affirm
that I will support, obey, and defend
that I will support, obey, and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of this Commonwealth,
and the Constitution of this Commonwealth,
and that I will discharge the duties
and that I will discharge the duties
of my office
of my office
with fidelity.
with fidelity.
Congratulations, you're sworn in.
Yeah. You want to do y'all first, and then we'll turn it down.
If that's fine, I understand.
That works.
Do that, whatever works. Are you ready?
Jill Wallbeiner.
And just stand right here for me. Thank you, Anthony. Jill, is there anybody else that you would like to introduce? I know that we have Anthony with you here today.
No, that's it.
All right, great. And are you ready to take the oath?
Yes, I am.
All right, great. If you'll put your right hand on there and swear, and raise your left hand. All right, I'm sorry. It's the other way around, I think. There you go. All right. Do you want to hold this for me, Beth? Okay. I, Jill Wallweiser,
I, Jill Wallweiser,
I'm sorry, do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear or affirm
that I will support, obey, and defend
that I will support, obey, and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of this Commonwealth,
and the Constitution of this Commonwealth,
and that I will discharge the duties
and that I will discharge the duties
of my office
of my office
with fidelity.
with fidelity.
Congratulations, you've been sworn. Do you want pictures? You tell me. However you want to do it,
Like
okay?
this?
You want the, yeah. Get everybody if you want. Got it?
Oh, you lost your shoes.
Very good. Perfect. And Sir, would you take one more with Jill, because I didn't know that you were taking the picture, and I'm not sure I was even looking.
Okay.
So I'm sorry. Come on here, Anthony. Thanks. Thank you. Got it. Thanks a lot. All right, I think my business is concluded, Chairman. I'm going to sign some papers. Thanks, everybody. Have a good
Thank
week.
you.
Thank you.
Nice to meet you. Thank you. Thanks, Ray. Yeah, it's fine. It was nice to meet you.
Tina Hollenbach?
Good job, Mom.
Hi.
Good evening, I'm Charles Jonas, Magisterial District Judge from the District Court in Buchanan Township. One of you fellows will hold this. All right. Raise your right hand, please. Yes. Repeat after me. You ready? I, Tina Hollenbach,
I, Tina Hollenbach,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support, obey, and defend
that I will support, obey, and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of this Commonwealth,
and the Constitution of this Commonwealth,
and I will discharge the duties of my office
and I will discharge the duties of my office
with fidelity.
with fidelity.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. Thanks, guys.
Carlos Rodriguez?
Okay. You all set? Yes. Raise your right hand, please. Just your left hand on the Bible. I, Carlos Rodriguez, do solemnly swear that I will support, obey, and defend the Constitution of the United States
Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of this Commonwealth,
and the Constitution of this Commonwealth,
and I will discharge the duties of my office
and I will discharge the duties of my office
with fidelity.
with fidelity.
Congratulations. Marty Sullivan?
Martin T. Sullivan.
Ready? Yep. I, Marty Sullivan,
I, Marty Sullivan,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support, obey, and defend
that I will support, obey, and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of this Commonwealth,
and the Constitution of this Commonwealth,
and that I will discharge the duties of my office
and I will discharge the duties of my office
with fidelity.
with fidelity.
Congratulations.
Okay, congratulations to everybody that did the oath of office. Now we're going to do the election of the temporary president who is going to take over the rest of the meeting. I will. With that, I'd like to make a motion to nominate Cindy Bowman as the temporary president.
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Sullivan. Do we need a roll call for this?
Yes.
I'd like to take a roll call vote now, please.
Mrs. Bowman?
Yes.
Mrs. Hallenbeck?
Yes.
Mrs. Lafferty?
Yes.
Mrs. Marshall? Mr. Rodriguez?
Yes.
Mr. Sporny?
Yes.
Mr. Sullivan?
Yes.
And Mrs. Waldweiser?
Yes.
8 yes.
Thank you.
I will switch seats with Ms. Bowman now.
Good evening.
I like it out here with you.
I would like to now open the floor for nominations for president. Do I hear any nominations?
I would like to nominate Marty Sullivan.
Any other nominations?
You do need a second for each nomination.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Are there any other nominations? I'd like to make a motion to close nominations for president.
Second.
All those in favor? Roll call.
You do need a second, you do need a roll call.
I got a second from Carlos.
Yep.
Yeah, pay attention, John.
Mrs. Bowman,
Yes.
Mrs. Hallenbeck,
Yes.
Mrs. Lafferty,
Yes.
Mrs. Marshall,
Yes.
Mr. Rodriguez,
Yes.
Mr. Sporny,
Yes.
Mr. Sullivan,
Yes.
and Mrs. Waldweiser.
Yes.
8 yes.
All right, motion passes to close nominations. Now I would like to make a motion to elect Marty Sullivan as the Neshaminy School Board President. Can I get a second?
Second. Okay, second it.
All right, and that will be a roll call vote. Mrs. Burns?
Mrs. Bowman,
Yes.
Mrs. Hallenbeck,
Yes.
Mrs. Lafferty,
Yes.
Mrs. Marshall,
Yes.
Mr. Rodriguez,
Yes.
Mr. Sporny,
Yes.
Mr. Sullivan,
Yes.
and Mrs. Waldweiser.
Yes.
8 yes.
All right, the motion passes, and I would like to congratulate Marty Sullivan as the new Neshaminy School Board President. All right, at this time, I'd like to open the floor for nominations for Vice President. Does anybody have any nominations?
I'd like to nominate Tina Hollenbach.
Can I get a second?
Second. Put the frog in my throat.
Second.
All right, seconded by Marty Sullivan. Are there any other nominations? All right, being that there are no more, I'd like to close the floor for nominations for Vice President. And that is a roll call.
It's a mo-
I'd like
it's
to
a
make,
motion- It's a motion to close nominations, a second, and then a vote on it.
I'd like to make a motion to close nominations for Vice President. Can I get a second?
Second.
And that will be a roll call vote.
Correct.
Mrs. Bowman,
Yes.
Mrs. Hallenbeck,
Yes.
Mrs. Lafferty,
Yes.
Mrs. Marshall,
Yes.
Mr. Rodriguez,
Yes.
Mr. Sporny,
Yes.
Mr. Sullivan,
Yes.
and Mrs. Waldweiser.
Yes.
8 yes.
All right, the motion passes. I would like to make another motion to elect Tina Hollenbach as the Neshaminy School Board Vice President. Can I have a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Carlos Rodriguez, and that will go to a roll call vote.
Mrs. Bowman,
Yes.
Mrs. Hallenbeck,
Yes.
Mrs. Lafferty,
Yes.
Mrs. Marshall,
Yes.
Mr. Rodriguez,
Yes.
Mr. Sporny,
Yes.
Mr. Sullivan,
Yes.
and Mrs. Waldweiser.
Yes.
8 yes.
All right, the motion passes. I would like to congratulate Tina Hollenbach as our new Neshaminy School Board Vice President.
Mrs. Burns, roll call for the newly seated board, please.
Okay, Mrs. Bowman,
Here.
Mrs. Hallenbeck,
Present.
Mr. Lafferty, Mrs. Lafferty,
Here.
Mrs. Marshall,
Here.
Mr. Rodriguez,
Here.
Mr. Sporny,
Here.
Mr. Sullivan,
Here.
and Mrs. Waldweiser,
Here.
and Mr. Allen is absent with present notice.
Thank you, Mrs. Burns. Mrs. Burns, any announcements?
No announcement.
Mr. Bowman, Superintendent's report.
Thank you, Mr. Sullivan. Before the Thanksgiving break, our schools were busy with their annual holiday food drives, collecting literally tons of donated food items, including complete holiday meals to share with our Neshaminy families that need some extra help this year. It's truly a community effort with donations coming from Neshaminy families, students and staff, local supermarkets and businesses, civic clubs and organizations, with the help from Lower Southampton Township Police and Middletown Township Police. I'd like to thank everybody that contributed to these major drives, along with our administrators, social workers, counselors, and school nurses who make sure that help gets to everybody that needs it. Speaking of holidays, the concert season's upon us. Last week, the high school symphony orchestra performed their holiday show, along with some visiting 8th grade musicians from the 3 middle schools. The week before that was the high school choral groups, who also appeared with 8th grade visitors. A contingent of our high school band members will be performing this Thursday evening at the Middletown Holiday Open House at about 7, and at another Playlucky Farm this Saturday afternoon from noon until 1:15. Finally, on another musical note, the high school select choir is once again in the semifinal round of the B101 Christmas Choir Contest today. You can vote for them on B101 website until 9 p.m. tonight. Hopefully we'll get out of here and we can go home and vote for our choir. They've had much success with this contest over the years, and we would most certainly like to see them move on to the finals on Thursday. That's all I have, Mr. Sullivan.
Thank you, Mr. Bowman. Mrs. Burns, anyone signed up for public comment?
There were no signs.
Okay. That being said, we'll move to the one action item we have tonight. 5.01, appointment of solicitor. Whereas school board policy number 005 requires during the month of December that the Neshaminy Board of School Directors appoint a solicitor for a 1-year term. Now therefore be resolved that the Neshaminy Board of School Directors hereby appoints the law firm of Begley, Carlin, and Mandio, LLP, as a solicitor of the Neshaminy School District with an hourly fee of $175 per hour for the calendar year 2024. Can I get a second?
Second.
Second by Mrs. Hollenbeck. Any comments or questions? Okay. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes 8-0. All right. That's
Mr.
all.
Sullivan, if I may, I'm sorry to interrupt. I'd just like to thank the board. I look forward to working with the board and the administration in the new year. Thank you.
Thank you. And now we're at section 6, the closing of the meeting. Does anyone have any other board business? Anyone have any board comment?
I just want to make a quick announcement to remind the local fire companies about the upcoming tax rebate for our volunteer firefighters and fire police. We will be conducting a meeting to go over how to do the paperwork that will be announced sometime in an upcoming week. And I just wanted to wish everybody a very happy holidays and have a great new year, and make sure you vote for the select choir at the high school B101 contest. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Will make one comment that I would like to thank everyone for their support tonight, and I look forward to a fruitful and productive year. Backwards, we're now doing the second public comment period. So don't everyone run to the podium at once.
With that,
I'd like to make a motion to close the meeting.
Second.
Second by Mrs. Hollenbeck. Enjoy.